Welcome to Freedom Forest, guys, the 3-acre edible oasis that we're creating here in the south of England, where we like to try lots of new things and push the boundaries with what we can grow using permaculture and no-dig methods. Absolutely no chemicals, weed killers or synthetic fertilisers, just what nature provides. Hi folks, for today's video we thought it would be a nice idea to take you around with us to do a winter harvest. It is the 18th of February today, and we're going to show you what we are still harvesting and pulling out of the ground at this time of year in the UK. And I'm going to start today by harvesting some yacon. So Murphy has already had a little bit of a harvest of this plant here. Oh, it's a red one, yay! But I'm sure there will still be some good tubers left on. And we don't actually need that many, so I'll probably just take out a few that I can find. And we actually find that the red yacon comes up slightly sweeter than the yellow yacon, so yeah, we really love this one. Oh yeah, it's got some great tubers on it. I can see why Murph's been into this plant. Okay, I'll probably leave it at that for the yacon because we don't need too much right now. I just want to get some sweetening up over the next couple of days to use in a stir fry. So just cover the plant back up with all the nice wood chip and soil, and that will keep it warm. Oh Murph, fancy seeing you here. Did you smell the yacon? Come on then. Okay, we're going to head down to the end of this bed here and see if we can find a few parsnips in the ground still. They're actually harder to find at this time of year because the tops have died right back, but there is still quite a few of them in the soil. So I just kind of have to have a bit of a rummage around. In a few weeks' time, they will actually start regrowing their tops again, and so I can find some of the strays. Oh, this looks like it could be a good one here. And all of these beds are no dig, and as you can see, I am mostly harvesting with my hands, and that is the beauty of no dig beds. These parsnips were sown, I think I sowed them in May this year. I tried them a little bit later than I normally do because I've just been finding that the parsnips are ready too soon to when I actually like to eat parsnips, which I see more as a winter veg. So yeah, I sowed them quite a lot later. And yeah, they're doing good. A couple of smaller ones here. Might just need to give them a slight loosening because there's a little cluster of them. A couple of smaller ones there. Okay, that will probably be enough turnips for enough parsnips for now. And just behind me here, I've got a little block of carrots, and this was a really late sowing of carrots. I wasn't sure if it was going to work. I actually sowed these on the 29th of July, which is about as late as I've ever sown them. And then I kept a cover on them quite a lot to try and keep the carrot root fly off, and it has mostly worked. So they're quite small because they were planted so late, but it's really nice having baby carrots coming out of the ground fresh at this time of year. And where I sowed them quite thickly, what I do is just go through and have a little feel around at the tops and try and pick out the bigger ones first, and then that hopefully leaves some of the smaller ones to keep growing on. And as you can see, mid-February, and they have still got all their lovely lush growth on top. I did have a little bit of frost cloth over this bed here on some of the really cold nights that we had, but to be honest, overall it has been quite a mild winter for us so far here in the south. Just see if we can find a couple more carrots from in here, a couple more bigger ones. That's that one again. And there's 3 different varieties in here as well, in the 3 different strips, so they're all slightly different shapes and sizes as well. Interestingly, that last one that I just pulled out there, that one has actually got a little bit of damage from the carrot root fly, and that is actually the resistor fly variety, yet the other 2 varieties, which are not resistor fly, are actually looking better, so that's really interesting. Okay, last one. There we are, it's a nice little bundle of carrots to go into the basket. Okay, what have we got next? Let's go and grab some turnips. So I've actually kept a cover on these turnips, mostly to keep the pigeons off. As you can see, this was another bed of turnips, and the pigeons have completely stripped all of the leaves on there. This was a slightly later sowing, so these ones are looking a little bit better now, and I've got more than enough turnips, so I'm happy to take from these ones. That is a beautiful turnip, and I really love growing the ones with the purple tops because I just love the colours, and it's so nice to see a little bit of colour at this time of year when things can look quite bleak. So I'm just picking off the bigger ones. These turnips were actually multi-sown, so they are in little clumps, and I'll just twist off the bigger turnips. Okay, that should be enough there. Get that covered back up, and then we will move on to the leeks, I think. So we've got 3 blocks of leeks in the ground here still. This is the one that went in slightly ahead, and then we've got 2 others at the back of these rows here. And we'll be harvesting leeks usually right up until the end of April, and they are such a valuable crop to have during the hungry gap, and they will just sit in the ground happily if you grow the varieties that are supposed to do that. So yeah, absolutely love having leeks at this time of year, and for many months more to come yet. So they did come out with a big clump of soil on, so I just use my little harvesting knife and cut the soil and most of the roots off, and then I just pop that back in the ground to keep giving back to the soil. So we've got 1 big one there and a couple of little ones. See if we can find another big one to pull off. It's another nice leek. Now again, none of these are particularly fat leeks, and that's again because they're multi-sown, and I probably did have a few too many in each cell. But again, the beauty of these is as I harvest off the bigger leeks, the smaller ones will keep growing, and that just keeps giving and giving more throughout the time of the year when there isn't so much. And I normally just go and tidy these off straight into the compost bay, but I'll do that in a minute today. Okay, next on the harvest list is going to be Jerusalem artichokes. And hopefully I'm going to be able to do this with my hands because I've left my digger down on one of the other beds, so that should be fine. We have got more than enough Jerusalem artichokes. They've just slowly taken over this bed over the years, and we have just happily let them do it because not only do they give us an amazing crop of food, but they also give a beautiful display of small yellow flowers at the end of the summer. So this bed doesn't get the best light up here, so we're really happy just to let this crop do its thing. Let's see what I can find. Okay, here we go. Feeling some chokes. Oh, that's a nice size one. I really like them when they're this size because they're much easier to handle in the kitchen. And Jerusalem artichokes is one of the vegetables that I do peel, and so yeah, it's nicer to have slightly bigger ones to deal with. Oh my gosh, there's loads in here. They are literally stacked on top of each other. Don't know if you can get in and see that, Dan. It's just like I've already taken this pile out here and there's just more Jerusalem artichokes piled one on top of the other. I hit a little gold mine with this patch for sure. Okay, that is more than enough Jerusalem artichokes for this harvest. Probably too many in fact, but there's no shortage of them, so we won't worry about that. Come on in, Muffs. Okay, so next we're going to go and harvest some greens and some herbs. Okay, so if we come down into our net house, and this is where we grow most of our brassicas to keep the cabbage butterflies off in the summer. And in here we have got mainly purple sprouting broccoli and perennial 9-star broccoli at the moment, but dotted around we have also got a few perennial kales, and I think this plant is probably about 3 years old now, and you can see it's really gnarly looking. So I will take some cuttings from this one, probably really soon actually, and get them growing on so I can plant some new plants out into the net house, because whilst they are classed as perennial, about 3 or 4 years at the most is how long I find that they keep going for. So I'm just going to pick off a few of the bigger leaves. But the great thing is about the perennial kale that I find is that it is definitely a little bit hardier than the annual varieties, and it just sits better over the winter. It starts producing quicker and more over the winter. You can see here, this is a black cow here, that it would be a younger plant than this one, but you can see I can get a few bits of a few leaves off of there, but its growth is a lot slower at this time of year. That one will pick up though over the next few weeks. That is a nice little bundle of kale for the basket. And then we'll pop into the polytunnel and see if we can find some nice herbs. So in here you can see that I have got more brassicas growing in here, so we've got more cows and purple sprouting broccoli and some cauliflowers. We did find that the rats started chewing them the other day, so we put these cages round, and hopefully we've still saved a bit more than half of them. And this tall one here is actually from last winter, so this plant here is over a year old, and whilst that's normally an annual kale in the UK, you can see that one is actually growing as a perennial in the slightly preferential climate of the polytunnel. So down here in amongst the salad, we've got some beautiful herbs, and this one is chervil. So I'm going to grab a little bit of this now, and if you're not familiar with this herb, it has a very slightly aniseedy flavour, but it's really nice in flavouring cooking. So I use it in soups and stews, and last night I actually used it in a creamy bake, and it goes really well with a creamy sauce consistency. And it is also really, really nice to add good flavour to your salads. So it's a cooler loving herb, so it grows happily through the winter, both outdoors this year and in the polytunnel, like I said, where it's been a lot milder. So yeah, this one won't grow so well during the summer, but it is a really nice flavour to have during the winter months. And now my parsley is actually stayed quite small at the moment, but I'm sure I will be able to find a little bit down here. And I use parsley in nearly all of my cooking. I absolutely love parsley. And whilst the plants, like I said, are quite small at the moment, in a few more weeks' time, these plants will just be growing like rockets. And I know I'll have more than enough parsley. Yeah, that's a really good bunch. Happy with that. Okay, so there is a beautiful mid-February harvest that we have just taken fresh from the ground here at Freedom Forest. I'm going to go into our winter store now and grab some potatoes and a pumpkin, and then I'll grab a bay leaf on the way down, and later on I'm going to turn this into a great big pot of veggie soup and maybe a vegetable curry. So we hope you've enjoyed seeing our harvest today and seeing what is possible to still be growing and harvesting in the UK in the middle of February. If you've enjoyed this video, as always, we would massively appreciate if you could click the thumbs up button just down below, as that really helps to get our videos seen by more people. Drop us any comments or questions and let us know what you're still harvesting from your gardens and plots as well. Be sure to subscribe to Freedom Forest Life to see more videos like this, and we look forward to seeing you here again soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace and plants.